Hey everyone, this is Sam here with Tal.
Hey, how you doing?
We're going to be deconstructing the second trailer for Season 4 of Game of Thrones.
Exciting stuff. Some stuff we've seen already, but definitely some new added scenes into it as well, right, Sam?
Yeah, that's right. And we've been watching this trailer backwards and forwards, and we encourage you to do that too, although we pulled out the best screens from this trailer to kind of talk about really close up and just kind of really examine what's going on.
Exactly. Because we don't have access to our own trailer that we can host on the site, but we did pull out some select screens to be able to show you what's going on. Just a warning, this is going to be full of spoilers. Sam and I have read all the books, so if you haven't read the books and you don't want anything in the show spoiled, you might not want to go to keep listening to this. But so just a big warning up front.
Yeah, and before we get into some bigger stuff, Arya is speaking at the beginning of this trailer. She's rattling off her names of people she's going to kill.
That's her with the Hound.
Yeah, and so here is the Hound still has Arya in captivity. Kind of, I mean, they've become a little bit friendlier with each other by this point, but he's trying to get a ransom from her by either taking her to River Run or possibly even up north to the Eyrie, from Caitlyn's sister to get a ransom for returning there. But we don't know what's happening. You can see some feet in the corner here. There's some ransacked villages here. I think they're going to see the results of, the mountains kind of. The mountain that rides Gregor Clegane's reign of terror in this region. We're going to see a lot of that.
It's basically they're seeing all the destruction throughout the lands from the wars and the battles that are going on.
Yeah, and so the battle that happens at the inn at the crossroads is where Arya gets Needle back. And she kills...
and Needle, for if you don't remember, that's her sword that she had forged for her, her special little sword that Jon gave her earlier.
Yeah, that Mikken forged at Winterfell. I can't really remember that name just now. I've been reading these books very recently. So she and the Hound in a battle here, and of course the Hound is mortally wounded, and or apparently, we don't really know, but after this he becomes infected, she treats his wounds, they carry on. So,
look,
speaking of, Brienne is looking for Arya by this point, and the way I know that, this is way late, she's wearing very nice armor that we actually saw in a previous trailer that Jaime is giving to her along with his sword that Tywin gives him, Oathkeeper.
Yeah, now obviously after all the troubles that they've had obviously, a bonding experience with her coming in and, Jaime saving her from the bear in the pit. So
yeah, and she was beat up after that at the end of the season. She just looked like she's a total mess. She's out of place in King's Landing. What's she going to do? Well, Jaime says, hey, go fulfill the oath. Go find the Stark girls. Right. And this is her, I think, leaving King's Landing.
And she probably has the sword as well, right? Would you imagine?
And we'll see that a little bit later in the trailer. This
is Jaime. Now, speaking of Jaime, with no hand.
Yeah, this might be him actually using Oathkeeper. I can't tell because this scene is not in the book. So this is... And we've seen more of this in a previous trailer, the first trailer. This is Bronn and Jaime fighting. And I suspect, along with other people, that he is... That Bronn is taking the place of Sir Ilyn Payne, where Jaime does training with him.
Right.
You remember that? And Ilyn Payne, Jaime's able to tell him and kind of confess all this stuff to Ilyn Payne because he doesn't have a tongue. He will never talk. And he kind of laughs and always doesn't really respond.
And just Bronn's character in general,
he's
pretty nonchalant. He wouldn't really care, right? Jaime's probably paying him to train with him too, right? So as long as Bronn's getting money.
Although Bronn kind of goes off and does his own thing. He marries Lawless and then goes off and just lives in a holdfast, and that kind of upsets the Lannisters. But we don't know how he's going to leave town in this, right? So maybe they're actually fighting. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. But it may be...
They're at King's Landing.
Yeah, it's probably at King's Landing, exactly, because there's water right there. So this is Meereen.
Yeah.
I think pretty sure that this is Jenny's siege on Meereen, which is another slave town that she goes to, and she's trying to free. She
stays here.
Yeah, she stays here. She's trying to free the slaves at this point. And if you notice, the siege weapons actually coming in. I think we're seeing some, maybe some either barrels or shots or something, canister being thrown by the catapults. But she actually takes her boats, her fleet that she had, and has her fleet dismantled to actually build these siege engines. So I wonder if that'll come up. That was in the books. I wonder if it'll come up in the show.
And we can tell this is not her being besieged because that's a slave, and he still has a slave collar on. When she's in Meereen, she's also besieged, and they throw the gross stuff into the city and corpses and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's way later, so I'm not sure if they're going to get to that. This is already pretty late stuff that's happening here.
They basically have diarrhea bombs.
Yes, exactly.
It's pretty horrible.
You can also notice there's some steppe agriculture in the background, and that's going to make a lot more sense in a few slides ahead. This is the interior of the Great Pyramid of Meereen.
This is cool. Dany holding court, which for those of you who have read the books, she does a lot. You know that she does this a lot throughout time. Now, what this looks like is a scene that's pretty pivotal at in the last book, actually, which is
Dance with Dragons.
Which is surprising to me that the HBO series is already getting up that far. But this looks like perhaps a farmer coming in to tell Dany about a horrible thing that happened to his daughter in the book, which is, and again, big spoilers here. The dragons go out. She sends them out to go look for food, and while usually they just kill cows and goats and things like that, it ends up that she learns that this farmer's daughter has actually been taken by the dragon and eaten.
Yeah. You also noticed, this is kind of interesting, Jorah Mormont and Sir Barristan Selmy are still with her here.
Yeah, in the books,
yeah, they kind of have a falling out.
And Jorah Mormont's
and there's Grey Worm, and I don't see Daario Naharis.
I don't.
Though he's been
Daario
recast in the season. In this trailer, you'll see he actually takes out the warrior of Meereen in a scene in this trailer.
But yeah, I do hope in the show there's a little less holding of court.
Yeah,
there was a lot of court holding.
Well, it looks like they're moving faster, right? Because this is book 5 material. Some of it is. And this should only be the second half of book 3 for other characters.
Right. So here it looks like probably Meereen again.
Yeah, that's the Great Pyramid.
Yeah,
it looks great. It looks like an old Star Wars matte painting or something.
It does. And it looks like they're probably marching into Meereen for the first time, right? Maybe they're just showing up. Maybe this is the setup shot.
You can see the Unsullied. And you can even see on the beach there's some Unsullied down, or maybe the very tips of her army down there, or maybe ships even coming in. It's really neat because Meereen has a river that feeds into the ocean there, and of course there's the sewers. And I wonder if that's kind of the entrance to the sewers there into the city.
And in the books, how they, while they have this big siege, the siege is kind of more a diversion to get some folks in through the sewers to get into the city and kind of capture it from the inside. So I wonder if even this hole underneath here is kind of what they're showing, that cave or that secret entrance to get into the city. Yeah,
filled with gross stuff and kind of monster things. So I wonder if they're going to have any of that. This is Oberyn Martell.
One of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and he's cast for the first time this season because he hasn't been in it yet. This is him near the Iron Throne. He's going to be fighting the Mountain in a very famous scene by the end of this season, because that happens at the end of book 3.
Right. I think we'll see a little bit of the Mountain right here, obviously.
Yeah, so this is who he fights, but I don't know if this is the same
third
scene.
Mountain? Is this the second Mountain or
it's the third cast
This is the third mountain, right? Yeah, the
He's
third
huge.
cast member.
There's a picture of him next to the actress that plays Cersei, and he is twice as tall as her. It's crazy. I don't know when this is taking place, because they do have a battle, which I'm going to go to right here, and he's wearing full armor in this battle. And we'll go back.
For those of you who don't know and are still watching this, from the Oberyn is from the southern part, and he's from Dorne. And he's just a great fighter. And it's supposed to be like a desert land, and he's a great fighter. And he fights with this long spear.
The Red Viper.
He's supposed to be really fast.
You can see he's in kind of red leather.
Red Viper.
And he uses a spear, apparently poison spear.
Yep.
And the Mountain wields a two-handed greatsword in one hand. Although I'm a little disappointed, they don't really show him doing that much, but here he is doing it.
I look forward to this fight. I really was hoping for a spin-off of the HBO series with just Syrio Forel and Oberyn would just trek around the land doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen not to give too much away with this one. But this battle does not end well for many reasons. Yeah.
And the Mountain, it looks cool. You see him flipping around, and it's just really neat. So, of course, they're fighting for Tyrion, and Tyrion's on trial.
Just to give a whole setup for this, Tyrion, one of the things that he can get out of the trial is he can actually fight to get out of the trial. Of course, knowing this, Cersei
choose a champion.
Offers that up to him as an option, knowing that he doesn't fight very well. And then, of course, Tyrion, knowing the rules and the lay of the land, says knows he can pick a champion.
Same thing that happened at the Eyrie, right?
Exactly. So he picks a champion.
And Bronn is gone. That's why he doesn't pick Bronn. So
right.
That's
Bronn is gone at this point, So,
but Oberyn has a bone to pick with the Lannisters, actually. Yeah. So it's a strange.
And some of the prehistory, his family was a lot of the family history was killed by.
And specifically, Oberyn Martell's sister was killed by the Mountain brutally, and her kids were too. So he wants to get his head. He wants to come and get the Mountain's head, and the Mountain is a bannerman of the Lannisters. I just wanted to point out, too...
There's a lot going on here, Sam.
Yeah, I know. And we can just talk all day. I like how the Gold Cloaks look in this series. I've always liked that. And once you start identifying the Gold Cloaks and the Kingsguard and stuff as like more of a passive viewer, like if you guys are experts on this, point that out to your friends when they watch, because it makes it easier to tell what allegiances are and stuff. They don't just fade into the background. These are Gold Cloaks. Yeah. That's the City Guard.
You can just see everybody's sneering looks too at Tyrion as he comes in down here. No, he's they're probably booing and hissing him at this point.
Mm-hmm. So this is a much discussed scene here, and I'm going to tie it to these pictures of Reek, Theon Greyjoy, who
rhymes with meek.
Yeah, rhymes with meek. Rhymes with freak. He just looks terrible, the rings under his eyes and stuff, but he's wearing armor, and I'm wondering if he is entering this gate or around here, because I believe that banner is a Bolton banner.
Right. Although this looks like, is this Castle Black?
Yeah, I just can't tell. I can't tell, and we'll know soon. But it could be Castle Black. It could be, major spoilers, some of Stannis' men there. I don't know what's going on. But I do know that Reek here is in armor again, and he's probably going to Moat Cailin.
Could it be Harrenhal?
To parley with...
yeah, or could it be Moat Cailin? It could be.
Yeah, I think it is.
There's a variety of places it could be.
Because Bolton sends him to Moat Cailin to parley with his own people as Reek, so he does. And then, Bolton has them all flayed and put along the road. Pretty disgusting guy.
The wedding, obviously.
Yeah, the purple wedding, people call this sometimes. This is there. So there's a lot of scenes we've seen this. I've heard, or I watched this preview in which the director said that an entire episode is dedicated to the wedding. So not only the tragic, or I guess not really tragic, but violent events of the wedding, but the whole setup of all this craziness. Like all the stuff that's going on. You can see a guy in stilts there. You can see people throwing fire. Like, it's going to be a big event. This is a big
deal. It's a royal wedding. It's the bringing together of two houses.
Yeah. Although when I was paging through it pretty fast because I wanted to get to the good parts.
Yeah, it doesn't end very well.
Do you think they'll have jousting pigs?
Or it depends on how you look at it. It ends very well. It depends on how you look at it.
Do you think they'll have a jousting pig and a dog?
I hope so.
I wonder if they're going to cut out that whole character. So here's the beautiful couple. I always like Joffrey's... Baratheon themed armor and helmets
and his pursed lips.
Yeah.
Such a punk.
Such a punk. Here's some. I don't know if this is up north yet, but this might still be on Dragonstone. But I just thought
it looks
this
like
was
Dragonstone to me, just from the cragginess and.
Yeah, they've been talking about burning people at the stake. As you can see, Melisandre there, and she of course sacrifices people to R'hllor, the Red God. But you can see their hands tied back there, and it's a pretty gruesome sacrifice scene. I think that was kind of powerful. Great set piece. So there's a lot of theories about this. I'm pretty positive there's somebody taking Sansa Stark out to a boat after the purple wedding here.
Could it? Yeah.
This is how I pictured it, kind of, in my mind, although it's daylight. But, Ser Dantos, who whisks her away kind of here and might even be involved in the death of the purple wedding, I don't know if he's going to be in the series anymore. He was the drunk guy who got berated by Joffrey.
Yeah, we haven't seen him for a while, right?
She conspires with him in the book a lot. She goes to the Godswood and then...
now, I also wonder, could this be the Onion Knight doing something, right? Like,
Davos.
Davos,
yeah.
That's kind of his MO, sneaking out in small boats.
It reminded me of King's Landing, but it really could be anywhere. It's hard to tell.
It could be. It could be Dragonstone. It could be anywhere.
Yeah. So in here is Sansa talking to Peter Baelish Littlefinger...
with his Mockingbird pendant.
Yeah, I think they're at the Eyrie. Yeah. I think the coloration and stuff here...
I agree. And the architecture in the background, I agree. It doesn't look like King's Landing. It looks like it's probably the Eyrie as well. Yeah. Maybe this is even the cages.
And it's winter up there.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's actually a shot of Sansa in the trailer 1 walking around in the snow. And, of course, there's no snow at King's Landing as of yet here.
Yep.
Because right at the ending of Book 5, they get that dove. This isn't that interesting of a shot, but there is a battle going on here, and it looks like it's an armored guy going up against a wildling who has armor. Well, Stannis' people have armor.
And horses, right? Yeah, exactly.
People at Castle Black don't go out with horses a lot of armor and fight them. Yeah. They kind of stay in towers and shoot them.
Right, and they usually have like skins and furs and wear their black, right? Like this looks like a heavily armored warrior. So this looks like Stannis' troops coming up,
which I can't wait for.
On the north side of the wall to meet during the big attack where the wildlings are actually attacking Castle Black on the wall.
Mm-hmm. So this is cool. This is
Giantsbane.
Yes, Tormund Giantsbane on the left, who we already know, but we didn't have this character yet on the right. That's Styr, the Magnar of Thenn. He has big rivets on his skull, big kind of scars, and I think that's to make up for that he's missing his ears in the books, but they don't have. He has big prosthetic ears here. He was cast for this season, so we know he's in it. We know that's him. And there's another great shot of him in the trailer.
Yeah,
which is
it's
right
just
here.
really cool.
How cool is
scarring
that?
And
it's like tattoo scars.
Yeah, I mean, in
see Egret back
we're
there.
really going to see a lot more of the wildlings this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Both the how they interact with Castle Black and those who have taken the Black and the battle, and then eventually they're going to have to get together with them to fight all the horrible things that are going on the other side of the wall.
What I'm a little confused about is that he's meeting them apparently, and this is a flashback, which it's not, south of the wall. So how did the Magnar of Then Styr get over the wall, and why is he meeting them here, aside for casting reasons?
Yeah, well, I mean, and they cross back and forth over the wall all the time, right?
Seems like it.
Yeah, the wildlings are not necessarily
they got good at it.
Just captured in exactly. I mean, they say they go over the wall all the time, so they're used to their ranging.
I like this.
Here we go, some Rangers of Castle Black firing down.
Yep.
It looks like they're at the top of the wall there.
Look at that guy,
down.
Man. He's really risking everything. Standing on an icy ledge. Come on, people. There's a great part in the book where Jon
this wall is supposed to be 700 feet tall, too, right? So,
I know what he's doing.
Just the fact that you could hit something from that height. But, yeah, obviously this is probably when the wildlings are attacking the wall.
Yeah, and that's a long battle. Like, they're up there forever. Like, Jon and a couple other guys are, like, just sleeping mini knights up there and firing down at them, right, until Stannis saves the day. And I thought that was cool to see a battlement on the wall, too. Really neat looking. Here's
cool action shot.
I believe so. This is the Magnar of Then, and they keep on showing all these shots of the wildlings attacking a town, not Castle Black, and I think that's Mole's Town. And I'm just noticing now, like Mole's Town is supposed to be primarily underground, and it looks like that entrance is covered in grass,
almost like Hobbiton, right?
Yeah, because the brothel and stuff is underground. They have funny names for it.
Yeah, that's where I always kind of thought of that when reading the book. That it was kind of more like Hobbiton.
Mm-hmm. So there's a truce going on here, and I don't know if this scene and this scene are related, but this is a bunch of dead people. It doesn't look like north of the wall because that would be where the forest begins. It looks like it's just the aftermath of the Stark wipeout at River Run, I would think. But I'm not sure.
You mean at the Twins?
Yeah,
right?
the Twins. Sorry, yes. And then this could maybe be Reek parleying. It could be Jaime actually going to River Run to parley. I don't know what's going on.
It looks like you're seeing some of the banners of the flayed men. So,
which is the Boltons.
Definitely, the Boltons.
It could just be Ramsay and Roose meeting. I mean, this on the right looks like Roose to me, and on the left it looks like
exactly.
Ramsay.
You got Bolton banners on both the right and the left there. So I mean, you can actually see the flayed man up on the flag, up on the banner. So
it's a great shot.
Yeah, it is a great shot.
They film a lot of this on location in Ireland, and you can tell here.
It's probably just them.
I want to go to Ireland and just experience
more.
the Twilight there, but I don't want to be flayed.
Jaime, of course.
So you can see Tywin looking very proud with a sheath over there, and that's because he, I think, just gave Jaime Oathkeeper. Of course, Jaime's mad about this.
Yeah, well, because it's melted down from ice, right?
Well, he's not mad about it. He's mad about I was going to say because he's missing a hand. He can't use it, but go ahead.
This sword was forged out of, after they melted down ice, which is made of Valyrian steel, which is very rare, but it's it's an element that they really like to use for swords because it can keep a nice edge, and it's just known to be passed through royal families, these swords. And ice has been around for, hundreds, if not thousands of years, right?
I mean, since Valyria existed.
Right, so...
And who knows how Ned Stark got it.
So a lot of, when these
Ned
families...
Stark had a giant two-handed greatsword, I believe. Like the one... and then
that was ice. That's what he would,
killed him with it.
When somebody... they brought justice to them, that's what he would, he would actually lift it up.
We have a model of that in the office.
Yeah, one of the early shots in season 1 had him, judging a man and then cutting his head off with ice. But this is a thing where, since Valyrian steel is hard to find, a lot of times, if there's a war, they will take the Valyrian steel weapons of another family and melt them down and make new ones.
And this was a big sword that was made two smaller swords. And the other one is, I think, Widow's Wail that he gives to, I forgive me if that's not the name of it, but I think it is that Tywin also presents to Joffrey for a wedding gift. And there's actually a scene of those swords being melted down at another point, but I think this is Tywin examining a sword, but I don't know in what instance it is.
The Starks have not had a good year.
No, they haven't had a good existence. All right, so this is probably our favorite shot of the whole trailer, or mine, actually second favorite. But this is in a previous trailer as well, and actually in the preview. And we actually broke down these in really cool ways on IGN the same way. We didn't make a video of it, but yeah, you can see a lot more of dragon stuff if you check out our Game of Thrones wiki.
And come to the wiki and also tell us what you guys think. I mean, we're not saying this is just some things that we think, knowing have read the books, but definitely come over and tell us what you think as well if you think we're wrong.
There's a little bit of context in the scene because there's the goat running out of the way, and it looks like the dragon's going to eat the goat, and then the kid appears in front of it. It's a well shot scene.
Right. So I'm not sure if that's actually a daughter or a son. Maybe they changed it a little bit for the HBO show because it does look like more of a male character there with short hair. But I think this is definitely a reference to the dragons eating their first human, right? And actually tracking down and hunting that human, and that's why he's showing up at court.
Yeah, that's Drogon, the black dragon. He's the biggest, and I think he's really the rabble rouser. I don't think any of the other dragons go out and eat people, but
he's always been the alpha dragon.
He escapes. They chain the other two down. He escapes, with Dany in the end of book 5. But he looks. Looks big because of the wingspan, but he looks just barely big enough to munch down a kid at this point.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Like the head is getting pretty big and stuff, but he doesn't look quite rideable yet, right?
No. And
this is brand new.
Finally.
Yeah. It's the final shot of the trailer. There's a lot of argument and speculation about this.
Which is weird to me. We've seen a lot of argument on the internet about this. We're pretty sure this is Cold Hands. I mean, this it makes sense. Now, he's not riding an elk like he does in the book.
He's riding a living horse. Yeah. So let's point that out. Usually the whites or the White Walkers, they have dead animals. But he's not riding an elk, which is what Cold Hands rides.
And he's not wearing the black, really, either, which, in the book, Cold Hands, who is this...
Ascension
white undead,
other,
who doesn't say anything ever, but he basically leads Brienne and party.
He talks. He's just cryptic
through the. That's true. Through the north,
and he has an army of ravens, and he rides an elk. I mean, he has these attributes we know.
But he wears the black as well, so it's kind of an allusion to a lot of the questions could this have been Benjen?
Yeah,
who went out ranging early on.
And there's a very early ranger that there's a short story about that George R. R. Martin wrote that people link it to too. It's still unclear. But yeah, it's also unclear who this character is, but he looks like he's not angry and trying to kill people. So maybe they're just trying to relate Cold Hands more to an existing image in the show, instead of making him a completely different thing. Like maybe this George R. R. Martin knows more about this than we do, and he directs lots of stuff in the series.
Probably costs a lot more to have a trained elk as well. So.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, I think that'd be really, really cool. Like what we saw in Lord of the Rings, there was a bunch of CG elks in The Hobbit, and I thought that'd be interesting if they did that. But maybe they thought that looked too hokey. So that wraps it up. That's trailer 2. The second trailer. There's also a preview, which you can check out too. But there's 3 kind of windows into what season 4 is going to look like, and we've broken down them all. So it's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the season. It's definitely my favorite part of all the books.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super interesting things going on. I do wonder. It seems like the HBO series is going to catch right up with the books. Pretty closely at the end of this season, so either they're going to start telling all new stories, or maybe
which would be so cool.
Yeah, which would be really cool, considering probably the next book won't come out for another 40 years.
Yes, exactly. But when it does, we'll be here to talk about it. Thanks, and keep it locked to IGN.